Have you ever just looked at a really long English word and thought, nope, not even going to try? Like you had to have it perfectly memorized or you stood no chance. Well, here's the thing. Reading English isn't actually about memorization. It's about decoding a system, a kind of secret code. And today, we're going to crack it together. So let's just dive right in with our main challenge for today. Take a look at this beast of a word. It's one of the longest non-technical words out there. Pretty intimidating, right? It looks like an impossible mountain to climb. And this is the feeling that so many of us get. Where do you possibly start? It all seems so random and complicated. But the truth is, it's not a random string of letters at all. And here is the big secret. English isn't chaos. It just looks that way. It's actually a system, and it's full of rules and patterns. And once you stop seeing it as just a total mess and start seeing it for what it is, a code, well, that's when everything changes. So, get ready. Over the next few minutes, we're going to give you the tools. You'll be able to look at any word, no matter how big, and see it not as a barrier, but as a puzzle just waiting for you to solve it. Okay, so our first tool is all about cracking the first layer of this code, the sounds. We have to understand the relationship between the letters we see on the page and the sounds we actually make when we speak. This whole field has a name, you know? It's called phonology, the study of sounds. We all know this part. This is the basic toolkit we're given to write everything down. 26 letters, A to Z. Seems simple enough, right? But here's the catch. Even though we only have 26 letters to work with, we make about 40 different sounds, or what linguists call phonemes, when we speak English. And that's the core of the problem right there. We have way more sounds than we have letters, which means our alphabet has to do some serious multitasking. Let's see exactly how this mismatch plays out. Take the word street. You can see it has 6 letters, but when you say it out loud, street, you only make 5 sounds. Those 2 E's team up to create one single long E sound. And get this, it can go the other way too. The word box only has 3 letters, but listen closely to the sounds you make. B, O, K, S. You hear that? That one letter X is actually code for 2 separate sounds smashed together, K and S. So here, you have more sounds than letters. Now this is where the code gets really interesting and a little bit tricky. The exact same letter combination, like EA, can stand for completely different sounds. In the word T, it's a long E. In head, it's a short E. And in break, it's a long A sound. The big takeaway here is that you can't just memorize one sound for one letter. You have to learn to recognize these patterns. Okay, so we've established that letters and sounds don't have this simple one-to-one relationship. So what's our next tool? Well, it's learning how to spot the building blocks inside of words. You can think of them as chunks. These are pre-made pieces that we can learn to recognize on sight. There are 3 main types of these chunks. You've got prefixes at the beginning, like anti, which means against. You have suffixes at the end, like meant, which usually turns a verb into a noun. And then, holding it all together in the middle, you have the root word. Spotting these chunks is like finding the corner and edge pieces of a jigsaw puzzle first. It makes the rest so much easier. Now, beyond those big chunks, even the smaller pieces, the syllables, follow predictable patterns. Now, don't worry, you don't need to memorize this whole chart right this second. Just notice that there's a logic to it. For example, see how the A in stamp sounds totally different from the A in bake? That's because of a predictable rule about that silent E at the end. Recognizing these patterns is the final key to pronouncing any part of any word. All right, this is the moment of truth. We've got our tools, we know about the weirdness of sounds, and we know how to hunt for chunks. It is time to go back to that monster word we started with and put what we've learned into action. So here's our game plan. It's a simple 4-step strategy. First, you're going to hunt for those chunks, the prefixes and suffixes you can recognize. Then, you'll break up whatever is left into those syllable patterns we just saw. Step 3, say each piece out loud. And finally, step 4, just blend them all together. And here it is again. But it doesn't look quite so terrifying now, does it?
This time, we're not just guessing. We have a plan. Let's do step 1.
You see that? Right at the very beginning, we can pull off 2 chunks we already know. There's anti, which means against, and dis, which means not or the opposite of. And just like that, by spotting those 2 prefixes, the word is already shorter and way less intimidating. Okay, now let's look at the end of the word. We can spot a whole bunch of common suffixes here. You've got ment, ian, and ism. Boom, boom, boom. We just chunked off 3 more pieces. Suddenly, this massive, scary word is just breaking down into these small, manageable parts. And after we've chipped away all those pieces from the front and the back, what are we left with? Right there in the middle, a simple, easy root word we all know, establish. And that is the method. Hidden inside that monster was a word you use all the time. Antidisestablishmentarianism. See? You can absolutely read it. And you know, this isn't just a party trick for one ridiculously long word. This system works everywhere. Look at these complex but pretty common medical terms. Pharmacology, that's just pharmacol, which means drug, and lology, the study of. Hospitalization, that breaks down into hospital, eyes, and ation. The code is everywhere once you know how to look for it. So you see what just happened here. You've learned the fundamental secret to reading English. You're not just a reader anymore. You are now a word detective. The power to decode any word is yours. And this is really the most important thing to take away from all of this. From this point forward, a difficult word is not a brick wall built to stop you. It's a puzzle. It's an invitation to take it apart piece by piece using the tools that you now have. So, I'll leave you with this challenge. The code has been cracked. The tools are officially in your hands. So go find a complex word in a book, a news article, anywhere, and try this out. Put your new detective skills to the test. What are you going to discover?